Can you give up all your wealth? Introducing Kansong JeonHyeong-Pil. When you start or plan to travel to Korea, you might easily see the Kansong Museum of Art among the recommended tourist attractions list related to art. But did you know that the word Kansong was a single person's nickname? Today, I would like to introduce Kansong JeonHyeong-Pil, who was the collector of Korean cultural heritage. To shortly introduce Mr. JeonHyeong-Pil, he was born on July 29, 1906 in Seoul and died in January 1962. He was a Korean educator and collector of lots of cultural heritages. As he grew up, it was the time of Japanese colonial period. At the time, he collected Korean paintings, ceramics, Buddha statues, stone structures, and books that leaked to Japan and left them back on this land, Korea. He has collected hundreds of cultural heritages, which were enough to hold an exhibition within his own ability, and they are now being held as an exhibition. And now, we can have a question. What made him possible to collect these cultural heritages by himself? Supporter? Unexpected money by getting marriage? None of them is right. It was in his inheritance from his father. At the age of 24, he got 8 million pyong of rice paddies, which is same as 600 billion Korean won now. In addition, the annual harvest amount of those rice paddies were 20,000 sam, which is same as 3.2 million kilograms. It was the same price of 150 houses, which are 45 billion Korean won in nowadays. But even with all this wealth, he dedicated it to his country, Korea, by buying Korean cultural heritages. What inspired him to collect these cultural assets? The source of Kansong's activity was from the man Wichang Osechang, a mentor of Kansong JeonHyeong-Pil. Osechang left some words to JeonHyeong-Pil, and it can be said to change Kansong's whole life. Our Joseon will become independent. There has never been a history of a country with a high level of culture being merged into a country with a low level of culture, both east and west. And that is the power of culture. That's why the Japanese government is trying to take our cultural assets to their country with any ways and any means. These words made Kansong become an independence activist, then trying to walk the path of a judicial officer, which was his major. Now, I would like to talk about his collection of Korean cultural heritages and how he collected them. Among the Korean cultural heritages collected by Kansong JeonHyeong-Pil, there are two representative heritages. They are the 800-year-old Goryeo Cheongja, which is a Celadon pottery made in Goryeo Dynasty, and Hunmin Jeongeum manuscript, which is the book giving the purpose of making Hangul, explanations, and examples of how to pronounce and use Hangul. In 1935, he bought Goryeo Cheongja for 20,000 won from Saichiro Maeda, a Japanese antique dealer. It is worth 6 billion won at the current market price. Even it was huge money, he made his decision in a flash. The reason was that his standard for collecting cultural heritages was to consider whether to remain on this land or to give up, regardless of his taste. Also in 1943, he bought Hunmin Jeongeum manuscript for 10,000 won, which is about 3 billion won in nowadays. He released this to the world only after Korea's independence because of the fear from Japan's oppression. And after during the evacuation in Korean War in 1950, he desperately tried to protect this Hunmin Jeongeum manuscript by carrying it in his chest and sleeping with it under his head. And he built a building to protect these cultural heritages, the Pohagak, which is currently Kansong Art Museum. It's built in 1938 and is Korea's first private museum till now. It's located at 102-11 Sangbokro, Seongbuk-gu, Seoul. The name Kansong Museum of Art was changed from the name Pohagak after the death of Kansong's. In Pohagak, at the time in 1938, there were 12 national treasures and 10 normal treasures, including painter Shin Yun-bok's art book of genre paintings. And more than thousands of cultural heritages were stored. This year, the Kansong Museum of Art had opened an exhibition and was held from April 16th to June 5th. After this exhibition, the building is said to be repaired. Even Kansong made all these great achievements, those are not evaluated as an independence movement. However, his pure and artistic spirit still has a great influence on the development and the spirit of the Korean people in 2022. It is an incredible work that a single person had tried to protect a nation's cultural heritages, giving up all his wealth. If I were given that kind of property or mission, I think I would never be able to do it. However, as an artist, I know that the power of cultural arts is strong enough to protect the country, so I will contribute to the cultural development of Korea within my ability. I hope that the lesson of Kansong JeonHyeong-Pil's life reached you with this video. Thank you for watching!